Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Hispanic Chamber Connection. This is a radio program that features and promotes members of the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This show is broadcast from Lone Star Community Radio in downtown Conroe. It can be heard at 104.5 and 106.1 FM, or on the internet at irlonestar.com, or you can watch us as a Facebook Live on the Hispanic Chamber's Facebook page. This program is available to be sponsored by any member of the Chamber. So if you're interested in sponsoring this program, please send me an email to tom@tombrody.biz. My name is Tom Brody, and I'm the Vice President of Membership for the Chamber. Today, our guests are Ed and Liz Fusa. They are owners. They're members of the Chamber, but they're owners of the IKEA Insurance Agency in Katy. So Ed and Lisa, thank you for being with us today. How are you?
Doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing fine. Liz. Real quick, tell us what the best way to get in touch with you guys.
Best way is to call us at our agency phone number, which is area code 346-299-2080.
Okay, and you got a website, I'm assuming?
We do have a website.
It's www.allstate.com/ed.fusa.
Okay, very good. So we're going to be talking with Ed and Liz in more detail in a few minutes, but first I want to describe the purpose of this radio program. The Hispanic Chamber Connection is one of the many benefits of membership in our chamber. So if you're a member and haven't appeared on this radio program, please send me an email to tom@tombrody.biz and we'll get you on the calendar. We also have a radio show in Spanish for chamber members, and that's on Thursdays at 10 o'clock on AM station 920. As our president, Dr. Carlos Sanchez, always says, the Hispanic Chamber has 4 goals in mind for its members. Number 1, visibility. Number 2, business connections. Number 3, targeted education. And number 4, member advocacy. And I could think of no better way to fulfill all 4 of those goals than to have you and your business featured on one of our radio programs. We also have an email newsletter that goes out informing our members and guests about upcoming meetings and events. And if you'd like to be added to the newsletter, or if you're a member and aren't currently receiving that newsletter, please send me an email to tom@tombrody.biz. So if you have any questions that you'd like us to ask our guests today, please text them to me at 713-906-3710. Now, with all that out of the way, Ed and Liz, you guys own the IKEA Insurance Agency. And I'm curious, where does that name come from? And then tell us about the types of insurance you write and what are your firm's specialties?
Okay, thank you, Tom. Well, the name is derived from Latin. It's actually slang for freedom.
Oh.
And I had been in the corporate world for over 27 years. So when I decided to name my agency, I didn't want to just use the typical Ed Fusa agency. So I looked at Greek and Latin names.
Okay.
And the literal translation is eagle, but it stands for freedom. And I thought this was good for our freedom from corporate America.
Very good. That's kind of breaking away, right?
Exactly. And basically, we're a full-service agency. So we do autos, homes, boats, motorcycles, do life insurance, so all the typical stuff that you usually think about insurance.
Okay, awesome. And so how long has your company been in business?
A little bit under a year right now.
Okay.
So we've been doing insurance for that. Now, I have been doing insurance prior to that, working in corporate America, but having my own agency just under a year.
Okay, very good. All right. And I saw that you grew up on Long Island.
That is correct.
And I've served some time on Long Island, too. So what brought you to Texas?
Well, as I mentioned, I was in a corporate banking world for over 27 years.
Oh,
I was
wow.
working at a large, national bank, and they had asked me if I wanted to move to Texas to help them start up a business here in the Houston area and actually in Austin as well. Yeah, I've been doing startup businesses for banks for, again, the better part of the last 27 years. So originally I said no. That I had no desire to move to Texas. And then the folks in Texas were very convincing to want me to come down here and visit them. And they figured that if they can get me into town, that they can convince me to move. And, growing up in Long Island, Houston, especially, the suburbs are very similar, except for you don't have to shovel heat. Mm-hmm. So that's a good part. And one of the things that I am a huge fan of, and that's steak.
Yes.
So, and Texas has some really good steak. Not that New York doesn't, because New York is known for some good steakhouses, but I tell people back home, there's 1 or 2 good New York steakhouses that you can almost find. Everywhere in Texas, you can get a pretty good steak. So, and that was, I signed a 2-year commitment. And I figured, okay, in 2 years, it's like going away to college. If I don't like it, I'll move back. And a month before my 2-year commitment was up, my house was already being, built.
Wow, that's awesome. So was it an adjustment moving from Long Island to Katy, Texas? Because I know you picked Katy ultimately, right?
I did. So Katy is suburbia for Houston, basically, and Long Island is suburbia for New York. So a lot of people, when you think of New York, you think of New York City, but so there's a lot of similarities between living in Katy and living in Long Island. Of course, you can't find as many good pizza places here, though I have found my New York transplants that have moved here, so I've been able to get my fixes. And traffic is definitely a change. Houston's traffic is actually worse than Long Island. I never thought I'd say that in my life.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, you just adjust to, instead of being cold in the winter and staying inside, you stay inside more in the summer months here. And that's the only real adjustment. But other than that, the people are great, and it's a great city to be in.
Okay, very good. So, Liz, let me ask you a little bit. How did you guys meet?
We actually met through work back in New York.
Oh, really?
And we actually both had an opportunity to move here together. So
nice.
That really, made it more likely that we would move because we were together. So,
yeah. Well, that worked out very well. Very good. Okay. And so how long have you been helping him since he started his own agency?
Yes, pretty much, yes. Okay. I do the marketing and social media aspect.
Oh, okay. Very good. All right. So what all social media channels are you guys on?
So right now we are on Facebook, Google+, and Yelp.
Okay.
And then we're looking to get onto Instagram very shortly.
Really? Okay. All right. Very good. So there's one thing I'm interested about Instagram for insurance companies. There are a lot of businesses. What do you put on Instagram?
Yes.
Because it's not real visual,
Right. Well, you can do posts about events that you participate in the community and things like that, and promote your business that way.
Okay. No, that's a good point. All right. Well, very good. So, again, just to talk about the best way to reach you. You said it's by phone, right?
Yep, phone is one of the best ways. We have the website as well, but I have a staff of 4 that are in the office. We're open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. So, in our voicemails, if we don't pick up, the voicemail sends us an email as well.
Oh, good.
So that's one of the best ways to reach us if you want to call us and get a free quote. We're there to help.
Okay, and what's the number again?
It is area code 346-299-2080.
Okay, very good. Well, one thing I was going to ask you is, starting your own insurance agency, it's got to be tough, right? So what was it that convinced you to strike out on your own? Because you were from the banking world and now going to insurance. It's not quite the same.
Well, you're right. So one of the things that was, to me, was the main motivator was the fact that I'd been doing businesses for, again, large corporate banks for the last 27 years, whether it be in New York or here in Texas. Again, the whole reason I'm here.
Right.
Well, at one point, we were kind of in an influx where she had already been told that her position was going to be relocated to another part of town, again, to another part of Texas. So she was going to be out of work. And we just started to reevaluate what we wanted to do. And we said, well, I've been talking about this for years, about wanting to go out on my own.
Oh, okay.
So I had researched different things, and insurance was one of those businesses that was still financial services related. So it was kind of, and I told you I had the insurance experience and had my licenses for life and things for years.
Okay.
But it was an opportunity to then partner with a company as strong as Allstate, where they give you all the support that they offered as well. So at that point, I just decided that this was probably the right time in life to go ahead and make that change.
Okay. Well, very good. All right. So has there been any big surprises since going out on your own?
No, I mean, again, having built teams as far as building a business and managing employees, that's all the same. I get that question a lot. How does it feel being a business owner now? I'm like, well, no, I've always treated every business that I did as my own business.
Right.
I think that's probably why I was successful, is that I didn't think of it as somebody else's money. It was always me. I think the biggest surprise I've been finding is just that, the lack of education that insurance agents provide to their customers. So, it's really more of an industry to just want to sell and not really educate and really provide the coverages that people need.
Wow. Okay. And you see that, I would imagine, more from customers coming from other agents or other companies?
Yeah, well, almost everybody has some kind of insurance. Obviously, it's something that's mandated, right? And you couldn't buy a car or get a home if you had a mortgage or a loan without insurance, because no bank is going to lend you money without knowing that collateral is covered. So insurance is a necessary part of the whole system. We wouldn't have America the way it is today without insurance.
Right.
They usually have somebody else, but in reviewing coverages, I find that they're either woefully woefully undercovered, or sometimes they're overcovered and they're paying for insurance that they really don't need. But the agent, I guess, figured that was a good way for them to get, more premium and therefore get paid more. So, I've made it very clear to my staff that we are not to be insurance salesmen, that we're to be insurance advisors, and really look for the best interest of the customers. And that goes back to my days of just in banking and being a fiduciary.
Right. Okay. Well, very good. That's awesome. Were there any big disappointments since opening your agency?
I think the disappointment has been just, again, seeing how many agents have not really taken care of the customers and not really taken a fiduciary responsibility. That was kind of a given to me, because that's just the way that we've always been.
Okay.
Coming from a banking perspective, and I was really in wealth management the last 15 years. So we always had to put the customer's interest before our own. And seeing the lack of that in the insurance industry, I think was a little shocking to me. And then the next thing is just realizing how little customers understand about their own insurance coverages.
Right.
That which goes back to them not being educated by their agents.
Yeah. I can understand that. Speaking of not being up on their insurance, do you find that there different generations view insurance differently?
Absolutely. I find that the older generations, as you get older, you kind of have a better understanding about the need for insurance.
Okay.
And possibly because you've had examples or you've had experiences where you've had insurance claim and realize that you either underinsured or something happened. So
Right.
I find that the older generation, or the older that you are, you're more willing to pay for coverage to make sure that you actually are covered, because that's the whole purpose of insurance, is to take a risk that you have and transfer it over to the insurance company,
Right.
while the younger generation just looks at it as a necessary evil and look at the bottom line price and not necessarily making sure that they're really covered until something happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. So how do you address those hard-to-sell segments, like the younger customers, maybe a young family?
Well, the main thing, of course, is, as I mentioned, is education. Making sure that when we're speaking to folks about coverages, we literally explain what each coverage means and why it's important to them. And when we start doing some of that, they start realizing that, oh, well, you're right. We probably need more coverage, or we need this coverage that we didn't have before.
Right.
So the education is the main thing.
Okay, well, very good. So we've been talking with Ed and Liz Fusa. They're owners of the IKEA Insurance Agency. And when we come back, Ed's going to describe the thing he likes best about owning an insurance agency. Stay with us.
Lone Star Community Radio is ready for the summer. If you or anyone you know is looking for a summer internship, Lone Star Community Radio is a great place to learn the radio and TV business. Contact the station at info@irlonestar.com or call the station's message line at 936-647-3776. Lone Star Community Radio offers a great opportunity to those interested in learning about the radio world.
Does volunteering at a nonprofit horse sanctuary sound wonderful? Or are you a veteran or a veteran spouse and think trying a peer group session through a local Horses and Heroes equine program might be worth trying? Henry's Home Horse and Human Sanctuary, located in Grand Central Park by appointment only, is home to a growing number of rescued and donated horses. Visit our website at henryshomehorsesanctuary.org or check out our Facebook at Henry's Home Horse and Human Sanctuary for more information.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? The Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your question. Get seen on TV or YouTube and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Sponsor your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Is there someone you know who is hooked on vintage aircraft? Follow the Commemorative Air Force and its fleet of World War II planes, including the mighty B-17 Flying Fortress Texas Raiders. which is based in Conroe, Texas. Texas Raiders tours locally and all around the United States, offering the public a chance to put their hands on aviation history. What could be a more perfect gift than a flight on a historic B-17? Taking to the sky on the iconic bomber is an experience that will never be forgotten. For the touring schedule, reservations, or more information, go to b17texasraiders.org or call 855-FLY-A-B-17.
For those of you who like your partners, your gumbo, and your music salty, well, we're here to help with the music. Julian Shea here, host of Lone Star Country Nights Thursday, your weekly dose of roots and Americana and all the music that makes this part of the country special. We stir in Western swing, honky-tonk, Zydeco, Texas blues, outlaw country, and put a pinch of red dirt, and then we smoke it over a slow fire. Then listen to the results Thursday nights on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Hispanic Chamber Connection, a radio program that features and promotes members of the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. My name is Tom Brody, and I'm Vice President of Membership for the Chamber. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask our guests, Ed and Liz, please text them to me at 713-906-3710. So when we went to break, we said that we were going to ask Ed what was the best thing he liked about owning an insurance agency. So we'll ask him that now.
The best thing I've found about owning an insurance agency is the fact that I'm able to help customers, and I know I can do that. For example, when I was in wealth management, one of the words that we could never use is guarantee, because you can never guarantee a return, right? Because that's based on the stock market, which goes up and goes down. But when I'm able to help a customer, I'm either able to save them money, and I know I can do that, or else we wouldn't be doing business sometimes. Right. Or the fact that I know I can help them cover something that they have a peril and they want coverage for. So that's one of the things that's most exciting to me, is that I'm able to help somebody. I know for a fact that I'm able to do so. Right.
Okay. Of all the products you guys sell, what is there one product that you sell the most of?
I think overall, the number one thing that we sell the most of would be autos, car insurance. Okay. And it's very important because one of the things that I found in doing this is that in the city of Houston, 14%, so 14 out of every 100 drivers that you see on the road are uninsured.
Uninsured.
They're driving with no insurance, and a lot of folks do not have uninsured motorist coverage, and that's one of the education parts that I try to teach my customers. Right. Is that you need uninsured coverage and they tell me, well, I had somebody just tell me today, well, no, they have to have insurance. It's illegal. No, you're absolutely right. It is illegal, but yet 14% of them are uninsured.
Wow, that's correct. I knew it was a high percentage. I had no idea it was that high.
We're like number 8th in the country as far as uninsured. Believe it or not, number 1 is Florida with 24%. Almost 1 out of every 4 drivers is uninsured.
Wow. I had no idea we were that high. Gosh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's talk about a little bit more uplifting thing. You guys are relatively new members of the Hispanic Chamber, right? So how did you find out about the Chamber and what attracted you to it?
I saw an ad on it for it on Facebook. Okay. And at the time, I was joining a lot of different networking groups and looking to network. And being Hispanic myself, that was something that in the large Hispanic community in Houston and specifically in Katy, I definitely wanted to be a part of that. So I decided to come and visit one of the chamber meetings one time.
Okay. Well, very good. So how has being a member of the Hispanic Chamber helped your business?
It has been great. I mean, first of all, doing this radio show is important. I'm going to be doing one again in about 3 weeks on the Spanish station as well. Oh, awesome. So we'll be doing that. The visibility that I've been getting, I mean, once you join the chamber, they do the blast on Facebook, and it not just goes to members in the chambers there, it goes to everybody, and then everybody in their page, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of visibility for it. So it's been fun so far.
Yeah, well, that's good. We're always looking for new members, especially in Katy. The Katy chapter always seems to struggle. I'm not sure why. There may be too many other networking events that that are always competing, or what. I'm not sure. But getting back to your customers, where do the majority of your customers come from? And you think it's word of mouth, networking, social media?
A lot of it is through networking.
Okay.
I also do, since I'm a new agency, I'm also doing a lot of different advertising.
Okay.
So that's also important. So between those two avenues, and then some of the word of mouth is starting to come into play. So I would think that social media, networking, and advertising are the three things right now that are driving the most business to us.
Okay. Yeah. And what kind of advertising are you doing? Print advertising, or is it all
We
online?
do. I don't know if you want to take a little bit on this, but we do some advertising in both, print, in grocery stores, and I'll let Liz kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've done various different advertising. We are in Ola Katy, which is actually a new publication in the Katy area that's Hispanic. We also do, like I mentioned, the Kroger grocery receipts. So on the back, when you get your receipt, there are all
Right.
the advertisements on the back. We're on that. We have partnered with the Katy Times, and we are part of their hometown newsletter, which is going out to new families who move into the Katy area.
Okay.
And so, we're in there for insurance needs. We have also done some various articles and ads in like the Houston Lifestyle magazine. It goes out to all the country clubs in the Houston area.
Wow, okay.
And then the Katy Newcomers Guide is going to be published in August, which will be for anybody new, again, coming into the area. It's a whole directory. So lots of different print.
And one of the things I'm excited about is we've actually also partnered with the two of the local high schools. One of them being Tompkins High School and Katy's High School, which of course we know Katy football is
That's
king,
big,
right?
yeah.
So for the upcoming football season for both of those schools, when the school hands out the calendar for the football season, it's a laminated kind of calendar thing that they hand out, and everybody puts it on the refrigerator. Well, the top banner ad for both of those schools is going to be the Key Insurance Agency.
Very good. Very good. So how are you guys tracking what comes from which advertising segment?
Well, we do have a system where the representatives can select where the calls are coming from. So we can track and figure out which
Very good.
marketing is working for us and which isn't.
Yeah. Have you gotten information yet to say
It's still
which ones?
trickling in because a lot of the stuff, like the Kroger receipts just started in July. A lot
Sure.
of the stuff is just kind of starting in July with the schools and the Spirit cards. That's just starting out.
Right.
So it's trickling in, but we haven't really seen a whole lot yet since we're still new.
Okay, very good. Well, I know that one of the things that I worked in retail for a little bit, that you'd ask people how they heard about you. So we saw your sign. It's like, no, you didn't. It's like we were on a very busy section of Highway 6 and said, you didn't see the sign because you'd be past us if you saw the sign. But that's always it's a tricky thing to get people to, because they don't remember. They've seen it so many different ways, and they grasp at how'd they see you, and they say, the sign. So I was just interested to see if you knew already, where the feedback was coming from, where people were saying how they found out about you.
Yeah, we hope to see that more coming in now that a lot of our advertising is going live.
Sure. That's always good.
And we're in a fairly new location, new shopping center.
Okay.
So we're starting to get some more walk-ins. I remember when we
really?
got our first walk-in, we were like, you're bringing the bells. And we were excited the fact that we actually had somebody walk in. So as the center gets more developed within its own, we feel also that we'll get some more walk-ins because we're right on Westheimer Parkway, just south of Pin Oak, of the Katy Mills Mall.
Oh, okay. Very good. So what other kind of retail establishments are in your little center?
There's a food store there. There's actually a soccer center,
it's called-
indoor soccer.
Yeah, it's called Pure Soccer.
Really? Okay.
There's
Yeah.
a Leslie's pool company that just opened up. Zoners Pizza and Wings is right there.
There's a neat little Taekwondo place next to my office, and about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we can hear the hi-yas from the little kids. And it's kind of cute.
Yes.
Well, very good. Okay. Well, one of the things I know we didn't talk about later, but is insurance for the hurricane season, right? And I know that that's all federally done now, but you guys are always telling people they need to get in flood insurance, right? Is that something that you're still having to struggle with? Because I know a lot of people I've met say, well, I'm not in a flood zone. I go, yeah, Houston and Southeast Texas is a flood zone. Don't let them fool you. So is that something that's still a hard sell?
Yeah, so the flood insurance, like you said, is more federally mandated or covered. So you still can get it through Allstate and through my insurance agency, but it's ultimately issued through the federal government. And you're absolutely right. And, there are a lot of people. I've not been in a flood zone in Katy in the 20 years I've lived in Katy, and after about year 2, I've had flood insurance.
Oh yeah.
The good and the bad part is the growth in Katy is tremendous, but as you continue to add more concrete and more roads, what happens is there's less dirt to absorb the rain,
right,
and water starts going into the neighborhood. So the example personally for me is in my old house in Katy. We would never get water more than maybe an inch or an inch and a half into the street, and then after they expanded the Katy Freeway one day, all of a sudden I noticed that the water was up to halfway of my driveway.
Oh wow!
And that's when I said to my wife, I think we need to get flood insurance. And the great part is, if you're not in a flood zone, it's dirt cheap.
Right.
It's less than $500 usually for the year. So it's good not to be in a flood zone, but you have it because any water that comes in from the outside, that's when you need flood insurance.
Right.
Your water coverage only covers water that comes from the inside out. So.
Right, absolutely. I know that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. But even after Harvey and everything else, I mean, you would think that would be an easier sell after Harvey.
Well, and again, the key thing is that if you get a flood insurance, it takes 30 days for it to get into effect.
Right.
So you can't wait till a hurricane's in the Gulf and you're thinking, oh, let me get flood insurance now. At that point, it's probably too late.
Yeah, I thought, isn't it as soon as the storm is named, that it's too late, you can't get insurance for it?
Well, it depends on where the storm is located. I mean,
Okay.
Obviously it's on the east coast of Florida, and it may be still coming into the Gulf. If it's less than 30 days, you still have time. It's
Right.
okay. But the key part is you have 30 days.
Yeah.
You have 30 days period. If you don't have it, you're done. What happens is, I think what you're referring to is that if there is a storm that is coming into the Gulf or nearby, and as you said, it's been named, there are many times insurance companies will put a moratorium on any new policies.
Okay.
Period.
Right.
So they'll say, well, we're not going to write any more policies, and that happened recently with the hurricane that was coming into the Gulf. At least for Allstate, they said, you know what, we're not going to write any more policies in Louisiana from this point on.
Okay, gotcha.
So, and they waited. It was going to be 30 days after the storm was over that they were
Right.
going to write policies.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. Okay. Well, very good. Well, we have been talking with Ed and Liz Fusa, owners of the Kia Insurance Agency. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Operation Kid Safe. And this is something that they have and they offer at their office. So stay with us.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1 and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776.
Path to the Plate is a research-based education program that helps consumers understand how their food choices impact their health by making the connection to agriculture, learning about how food is grown and produced, and how consumers can make better food choices for themselves and their families. Path to the Plate is all about dispelling myths and misconceptions. Find out more online at pathtotheplate.tamu.edu. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Hey, Montgomery County and online listeners. Thank you so very much for checking out Jazzy Vibes with Soul. What? You haven't done so yet? Well, you've got to tune in. Hi, I am the host of Jazzy Vibes with Soul, Miss CeCe Holmes, and I invite you to check us out every Friday and Saturday from 7 until 9 p.m., where you will get the best in old school R&B, and of course, a little smooth jazz to make it jazzy. So tune in. That's right, tune in. Every Friday and Saturday right here on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 FM, or worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show with monthly and weekly slots available in Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast. Create your first YouTube channel. and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Hispanic Chamber Connection, a radio program that features and promotes members of the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. My name is Tom Brody, and I'm Vice President of Membership for the Chamber. Today, we're visiting with Ed and Liz Fusa, owners of Akia Insurance Agency in Katy. And if you have any questions that you'd like us to ask our guests, please text them to me at 713-906-3710. Again, we also have a newsletter that goes out to our members and guests. And if you're not receiving it, please send me an email at tom@tombrody.biz, and we'll get you on the distribution list. Also, if you haven't downloaded the Hispanic Chamber app, it's very easy to do. You want to text the word TX Gulf Coast to the number 72727. That will send you a link, and then you can actually download it to your phone. And then, if you ever needed any services of anyone in the chamber, you can look them up very easily by their name or by the category. So that's one of the things that you want to do, and it really sets our chamber apart from everybody else. So with that said, we want to get back to our guest, and we talked about the Operation Kid Safety Center, which they have in their agency. So Liz, I understand you're kind of the head point person on that. So why don't you tell us about what is Operation Kid Safe?
Great. Yeah, so Operation Kid Safe is a section of our office where we will allow families to come in and they can have their child's photograph taken, and we do digital fingerprints.
Okay.
And we print it out on this Amber Alert Ready card. It's a free service that we offer year-round. It's during our business hours.
Okay.
And essentially, this card has on the front side a bunch of safety tips that families can go over with their families and their children to make sure that they have a plan in place in the event of, someone comes up to them that they don't know and tries to lure them away. There's tips on here on, what to do. There's also tips on here for teens because, it doesn't always just happen to younger kids. It also happens to teens, and just making sure that they're aware because they're always in their phones. They're not paying attention to their surroundings. They don't know what's going on around them.
Yeah, right.
So just really making sure that the family has a plan, and it helps families be more proactive than reactive in the event of an emergency. This is something that can quickly be handed over to law enforcement. On the back side, what's going to print out is their picture is going to be in the upper corner, and then their fingerprints are going to be down here.
Mm-hmm.
And then on this side, there's going to be a whole bunch of different areas where the parents can fill out their child's identifying characteristics, so hair color, eye color, weight, height, things like that, so that, like I said, in the event of an emergency, it can quickly just be turned over to law enforcement. And we just ask that they update the photo, once a year, like with their school picture, so that it stays current.
Oh, okay. So everything else is printed out except the picture, and they just
The picture is printed, but it's the picture from that day. So,
So
if in a year, like the fingerprints aren't going to change. So in a year, if they want to update the picture, they can just staple a new photo, to the card.
Awesome. So how did you guys get involved in this?
So Ed had heard about this program through Allstate,
Okay.
and we decided to look into it because we have kids ourselves, and you never want anything to happen to your children. You want them to always stay safe, but
Right.
that's not reality. And there are approximately I think it's like 500 kids right now on the Texas list of missing children.
Oh my gosh.
Which is a lot. So and interestingly enough, most abductions happen by family members. So even
Really?
though abductions are happening by family members, you still want to make sure that you have this information because, if a child is being held by a family member, they may be, forced not to say anything or things like that. But if, law enforcement comes upon them, they can look at the photo, check fingerprints,
Right.
make sure that, this is the child that's missing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So do you advertise this, that this is something that you guys do?
We have.
I was going to say, what we do is we've partnered with some local law enforcement for Fort Bend County, Harris County, Katy, and let them know that we have this available. Children are our most precious resource. And one of the things that I think was important when I saw this and I brought it to Liz is we wanted to give back to the community.
Sure.
Obviously, kids are something that we're very passionate about, and it seemed kind of right in line with insurance because insurance is something that you get. but you hope you never have to use.
Right.
And this is the same thing. This is preventative, where you take your child's fingerprints and their pictures and photos, but you hope you never have to use it.
Right.
Right. So that's the hope, that it never has to be used. So, that's one of the things that we do to advertise, how we're partnering to get our name out there.
Yes, and when we had our grand opening, we had a lot of different law enforcement agencies come out. We had the police chief of Katy come out. So, we've been contacted. We actually have several activities lined up next month to go out and, partner with the Fort Bend County Constable's Office and do different events. So that's another thing that's great about this Operation Kid Safe, is that it's mobile. So we can transport the equipment and we can go to any kind of events that are in the community. Like we're doing, like I said, next month we're doing some back to school events. We did a grand opening for a pool in a community in Missouri City last month. So
while it's in our office, we are mobile. We can bring it with enough notice. If we have the data available, we can actually come to a large event and be able to do the Kid Safe right there.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of response when going like to the grand opening events like that?
Yes, we have. A lot of, they're geared towards family events, right? So you're always going to have kids and parents there.
Right.
So, people are very appreciative of the fact that we're doing this. And one other thing to note is that we do not keep any photos or fingerprints on file. It is completely erased as soon as you print out the card.
That's what I was going to ask, how you keep track of all that or manage that.
Yeah, we don't keep anything, because again, there's no need for us to have it.
Right.
It's another safety precaution. There's no need for us to have that stored anywhere on the system that they provide.
Okay. All right. So as soon as they get the card, then it's erased.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Very good. Awesome. So, how can other businesses get involved if they want to do something like this too? Is there a contact number that they need to call, or a website?
Yeah.
that they need to call?
Well, Mark Botts is actually the founder of Operation Kid Safe. He does have a website. It's operationkidsafe.org.
Okay.
He has actually partnered with Mark Walsh and. Or is it David Walsh? I forget now.
I'll say Mark Walsh.
Yeah, so Mark Walsh, and he actually was instrumental in creating the Amber Alert system.
Right.
So, his company is available to do this. They do rent out the equipment. So, it comes with a printer, a laptop, a camera, and a fingerprinting machine to do the service. But if anybody in the area is just interested in having us come out, they could just call our office. And like Ed said, if we've got availability on the calendar, we certainly will go out to events in the community.
Okay. And what's the number again?
So the number is 346-299-2080.
2080.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. So do you have any idea how many kids you've identified in this way? I know you're not keeping any information.
Well, we've probably done, I would say, anywhere between 20 to maybe 25 kids so far.
Okay. All right. Very good. So, do you partner with any schools or anything? Have any schools reached out to you?
Since we started, we kind of had our grand opening at the end of May, so school was kind of winding down.
Yeah.
So we did invite a lot of the schools to our grand opening.
Okay.
So what we're doing now as school's getting ready to start up is I've got an email that I'll be sending out to all the local schools, the YMCAs, daycares, things like that, to get the word out that if they've got any events that they'd like us to attend, we are certainly willing to do that.
Yeah, very good. Okay, well, awesome. So the program is called Operation Kid Safe, and again, it's a way to create a card to, in the hopefully the unlikely event that something happens to your child, that you'll have that information that you can then share with law enforcement. And that's just going to speed the recovery. So
Absolutely.
that is awesome. So how long has this program been in place?
We've had it since the middle of May.
I know. How long
This
in general?
program has been for over 10 years.
10 years. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought I'd heard about it, but I just didn't know what it. I don't know it was called that, because with my kids, this was over 10 years ago. We had something similar, but it wasn't that elaborate.
Yes.
But it was just, I gave you something that you used and put it together yourself.
Right.
Like put a Polaroid. It tells you how long ago that was. A Polaroid on that and some of the information, but
Right.
I don't think it had a place for fingerprints. So that's awesome. That's very good. Okay.
And they're digital, so there's no mess.
That's even better. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. So.
Kids like to put their fingers on the walls.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
once
boy.
they got the ink on there, it's everywhere. I bet. So, well, that's very good. So we have been talking with Ed and Liz Fusa, owners of the Akia Insurance Agency, and we come back. We're going to talk about some of the biggest misconceptions people have with insurance. Stay with us.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Did you know there are more than 790 abused and neglected children currently in foster care in Montgomery County? Will you help make a difference? I'm Allie Stevens with Casa Child Advocates of Montgomery County. We train and support volunteers to be the voice of children in the foster care system. Kids are removed from their home because of abuse and neglect, and we need volunteers just like you to advocate for these children. To learn more about becoming an advocate, please visit CasaSpeaksForKids.com. That's CasaSpeaksForKids.com.
This is Rick, TRC. Every Tuesday on my show, Afternoons with Lone Star from 3 to 7, I play back-to-back classic rock hits. That's right. I like to call it a 2 for Tuesday or a 3 for whatever it is you'd like. Call the request line, 936-647-3776, or message me on Facebook, Afternoons with Lone Star, make a music request. That's right, you can do it. Here's what else. Go over to our website, irlonestar.com. Get the app on your phone. It's easy. You'll like it.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Hispanic Chamber Connection, a radio program that features and promotes members of the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. My name is Tom Brody. I am Vice President of Membership for the Chamber. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask our guests, Ed and Liz Fusa, please text them to me at 713-906-3710. So when we left, we're talking about some of the big misconceptions people have with insurance. So Ed, what are those?
Okay, well, first of all, I think people just have a general misconception of what they have because they're not educated on the insurance that they're currently purchasing.
Right.
And that's a function of them not understanding and the agent not really explaining. I think one of the major misconceptions is regarding water and flood.
Okay.
You know, because they say, well, I had a pipe burst and you guys covered that, so that means you cover flood insurance. And the answer again is no. You know, anything that bursts from the inside of your home, that would be covered under your homeowner's policy.
Right.
But any water that comes from the outside going into your house, that's flood insurance.
Okay.
And that's a separate insurance policy, and you have to get flood insurance in order to do that. So that's one of the misconceptions. But I find that's from the home, and from the auto perspective, I find that a lot of people don't understand. You know, Texas has a minimum for liability of 30 per incident, 60 for 30 per person, 60 per incident.
Right.
Which means that if you injure somebody in an auto accident, the maximum that they would get reimbursed from the insurance company is $30,000, not $60,000. 60 is if it's one or more, two or more people.
Oh, okay.
And that's the other one, because I've had people say already, well, that's okay, because if I hit somebody, I have up to $60,000. I'm like, not if it's just one person. And guess what? I don't know the last time anybody's been to a hospital, but you can go through $30,000 really quick in hospital bills. So that's why we usually recommend that if you have significant assets that that means you just have a house,
right?
That you may want to have more than that coverage, because the insurance is only going to cover up to what you've paid for.
Right.
So that's why it's important that you discuss with your insurance agent and you have that conversation about what's the appropriate coverages for you and your financial, comfortable. What you're comfortable with, because if not, you're on the hook for the rest of it.
Right.
And again, the main point of insurance is to transfer the risk from you onto the insurance company. That is 100% the reason you have insurance. And so those are the two misconceptions from a home and from an auto. in regards to insurance.
Okay. Now, you talked about water coming from within the house. What if it's an issue when the water comes in through a real heavy rainstorm through some fault of the roof?
Well, again, roof. If you have roof damage, because of a hailstorm, which happens a lot, and we've actually had I've had a lot of claims in the last month because of some of the hailstorms that we've had here.
Right, yeah.
So again, that's covered.
Okay.
But anything that's from the outside coming in, but that's roof damage. So any damage that happens subsequent because of the roof itself.
So even
should be
water
covered.
damage after there was a leak or
Yes.
something? Okay.
Correct.
All right. Very good. Because I know I just had a house that's 2 years old, and we had some of these rains where the water's coming sideways, right? And it was coming up under some of the flashing. And then so it was something that was able to be repaired, but who knew? I mean, it was all of a sudden, it's like there's no roof damage, but it was coming under the flashing because the rain was coming horizontally. So that was one of those things. Wasn't sure if it was going to be covered or not, but they were able to fix it, not a problem. So speaking of that, we're into hurricane season now. What are the things that you guys want to make sure everyone's aware of to get ready for hurricane season?
Well, yeah. One of the great things, again, we talked about moving to Houston. Houston's a great community. The Gulf Coast is great. We've got great weather for as far as from a temperature standpoint.
Right.
But the unfortunate part is that we are in the Gulf Coast and there are hurricanes and we're prone to have them. One of the statistics is that ever since 1900. The Gulf Coast will be hit with some kind of hurricane or tropical cyclone every 8 out of 10 years.
Right. Wow.
So, we have an 80% chance in a decade that at 8 out of those 10 years, we're going to have some kind of event that's going to happen in the Gulf Coast.
Right.
So it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So the key part is to make sure that you have enough coverage so that you're not on the hook on your own and exposed to any of those losses that may have, that you put them into insurance. Now, unfortunately, because we are in a Gulf Coast, that means that our insurance rates are a little higher. But
Right.
it's better to pay a higher monthly fee or annual if you're paying it, your mortgage, than it is to have to realize that you just have a catastrophic damage to your home, or you have a $70,000 or $100,000 or God forbid a total loss, which we've had before, and you don't have enough coverage for that.
Right.
And unfortunately, we had during Harvey, we had the situation where we had the Army Corps of Engineers that had to do the forced flooding of certain neighborhoods as well. So that was a challenge. So we have a lot of different things that are challenging in the Gulf states. It's great to live here, but we've got to make sure that we keep our eyes open to our insurance needs and that we have proper coverage.
Right. So I understand you've got a disaster preparedness kit. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so as Ed said, I mean, it's not a matter of if, but when.
Right.
And, approximately 85% of Americans are unprepared for disasters. They don't think about it,
Right.
and then they hear a storm is in the Gulf and all of a sudden everyone's like running to the grocery store to, stock up on food and wine and beer and all that stuff. But they don't necessarily think about, okay, well, I've got my food needs met, but what about if power goes out, do I have batteries and things like that? So,
Right.
So during hurricane season, which runs from June 1st, so we're already in the midst of it, through November 30th, we have these disaster preparedness kits in our office where folks can come in and they get a quote and they walk out with a disaster preparedness kit.
Oh, wow.
And some of the things that it has in there are a first aid kit. It's got a collapsible water bottle, a rain poncho, an emergency blanket, a dust mask, wet wipes, just a whole bunch of things that you don't, when you're going to the grocery store to get your food and, beer and wine,
That's
you're
right.
not picking those things up.
Right.
So it all comes in this, cute little bag that they can just take with them. And, while supplies last, we will be giving them out to anybody who comes into the office.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
it's not an end-all, be-all, but it's just something that they can have that can start as kind of a starter kit to say, hey, these are some of the things that you need to be considering when you put together a disaster recovery kit,
Absolutely.
preparedness kit. So some of the things that you should be having on hand in the event that you have no power for a couple of days. not only is just regular batteries, extra cell phone batteries to charge your cell phone
Right.
if you don't have any power, or make sure you have an outlet for your car because you can start your car, but if then you're running your gas, which we could run short on gas. So these are just some of the things that we want to bring awareness to. So you let us do a quote, which is free, and with a free quote, you automatically get a kit.
Very good. And what's the address of your office again?
It is 25920 Westheimer Parkway.
Okay.
And that's in Katy, which is just south of the Katy Mills Mall, about 2 miles south on Pin Oak.
Okay, very good.
Pin Oak turns into Westheimer Parkway.
Okay, very good. Now, one thing you talked about disaster preparedness. Real quick, fire extinguishers for your home. Mm-hmm. That's something that everybody should have, right?
Absolutely. Fire extinguishers are important. And actually, with Allstate, if you have a fire extinguisher when you're doing your homeowner's insurance, you actually get a discount for that.
That's where I was going with that.
Yes, there is a discount. I mean, besides, you also, if you have an alarm system that connects directly to a fire station, so a lot of people have alarm systems for burglar alarms, right? Somebody breaks in, it goes to a central station, and the police get called.
Okay.
But what they don't do is they don't necessarily have it hooked up, and there's a fire in the home. They'll have, smoke detectors and alarms there, but that's local. But if you have your alarm company can hook it up to a central fire station, so the fire department gets called the minute that those go off, that also gives you a discount.
I didn't even know that was possible.
It is possible. So we have it in our home.
Okay.
As an insurance agent, of course.
Yeah, of course.
So we have it in our home. So it goes straight to the fire department. So if the smoke goes, smoke detectors go off, not only does it alert the family to get out of the house, it starts alerting the fire station to get somebody into the house real quick.
Okay.
Over to your house. So this way they can hopefully stop the fire before it becomes catastrophic.
Right.
Because the more the fire spreads, the bigger damage is actually done with the water, going back to water.
Well, right.
Yeah, when you try to put the water to extinguish the fire, you end up doing a lot of damage to the home.
That's true.
So the quicker we can get to that and stop that, the easier it is.
Okay. Well, back to fire extinguishers. Which kind is recommended for just general home use?
Most people have the CO2, which is the most common ones. Pretty much any of the standard ones. I mean, you don't want anything that's too cumbersome that you have to look at how to operate, because then if you can't operate it, then it becomes moot. There are some very good canisters that almost like a spray, and you can spray them through, and they come out. They're very effective as well.
Okay, very good. All right. So we've been talking with Ed and Liz Fusa. They are owners of the IKEA Insurance Agency. So once again, real quick, why don't you give your contact information, email, website, all that good stuff?
Sure. Well, again, our phone number is area code 346-299-2080.
The website address is www.allstate.com/ed.fusa.
And Fusa spelled F-U-S-S-A.
And you guys are on Facebook as well, right?
We are on Facebook, yes, and also Google Plus and Yelp.
Okay.
Y hablamos español.
Very good. This one thing, definitely want to make sure we cover that. So, okay. Well, that's all we have for this week. Next week, come and join us because Dr. Carlos is going to make his first appearance since his absence. So he'll be here next week. So everyone tune in then.